What's up, I'm your local pleb, and it's been more than a month since Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe came out. Not only that, but it's been over an entire year since the release of Kirby and the Forgotten Land as well. Considering that Kirby is one of my favorite franchises of all time, I thought it'd only be fitting to make a video for the occasion. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is a challenging, fun, and exciting remake of the original Kirby's Return to Dreamland for the Nintendo Wii, not only just adding an epilogue story for Magolor, but it also introduces an entire new game mode known as Merry Magoland. Merry Magoland is a game mode filled with fun minigames to play when you don't want to keep inhaling enemies for the rest of your life. There's 10 minigames that you can play in total, being Bomb Rally, Booming Blasters, Checkerboard Chase, Crackity Hack, Egg Catcher, Kirby on the Draw, Magolor's Tome Trackers, Ninja Dojo, Samurai Kirby, and Smash Ride. Playing all of these games isn't really a fruitless venture either. Depending on how much and how long you've played a minigame for, you can get stamps for your Stamp Rally card, which, the more that it fills up, the more items that you can use within the normal adventure game mode like Maximum Tomatoes and even random copy ability stars. However, there's another thing to collect which I think is really cool. Masks! By either completing certain tasks or completing multiple Stamp Rally cards, you can obtain masks from plenty of past Kirby characters, from Ribbon to Galactonite to Elfin to even Cone-Mouth Kirby. There's a whole plethora of masks that you can wear. You can even wear them in both the minigames and the adventure mode. And if that doesn't suit your fancy, there's also challenges for you to complete. Every single minigame has a certain number of tasks that you can complete if you want. Heck, are they too easy? Complete every single one to unlock the true extra missions, which have very difficult challenges for you to try and complete too. The last thing I'll mention about this place is the Magoland Tour, where it's a gauntlet of 4 randomly chosen minigames to try and do better than your opponents at, which comes in 3 different difficulties. And also, yes, all of the other games have their different difficulties as well. Not trying to flex over here, but considering that I was able to complete every challenge in Merry Magoland, I have a fair bit of knowledge and experience when it comes to these minigames, so I thought it'd be a good time to make a top 10 list of my personal favorite Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe minigames. Also, remember, personal opinions will be stated in this video. You won't have the same opinions as I do, most likely, probably, I don't know, but feel free to tell me what your personal best and worst Kirby minigames are down in the comment sections below. But now it's time for us to get started with the list, because trying to get the footage for all these minigames, man, I sucked really bad at them.
You get it because Kirby, Kirby sucks.
Egg Catcher is a very simple minigame. Kirby wakes up in some sort of a wrestling ring, and a King DDD robot starts shooting eggs and bombs at Kirby. You have to open Kirby's mouth to catch the eggs, but you have to make sure to block the bombs. The goal is trying to catch the most amount of eggs without catching a single bomb, because if you end up catching a bomb, it's instant game over. If you're wondering, yes, this is my least favorite game for a few reasons. Firstly, it's a basic minigame with barely much to show. I know I shouldn't expect every single one of these minigames to blow me away, but there's not much to talk about here. Secondly, this game does have a fair bit of challenge to it, but there's a problem that takes the competition away from it if you want to play this with friends. As far as I know, all of the eggs and bombs shoot at a set pattern, meaning that they're predictable to catch if you play the game enough. While that doesn't mean I hate the game, I'm just saying that it's the one that I'd be playing the least likely. Granted, I think the winning animation where the baby chicks pop out of Kirby's mouth is very adorable. Also, by the way, DDD, why the pleb are you doing this? You're a penguin, you're a bird too. Why are you letting Kirby decide the fate of your cousins? Did they owe you money or something? Ninja Dojo is all about mastering in the art of throwing shurikens, trying to hit targets, and landing as many bullseyes as you can for a high amount of points. Landing a bullseye earns you 100 points, and you'll obtain less points the further away it is from the bullseye. Usually, other than the very first target, the rest of the targets all have a random way of popping up, whether it be stopping abruptly, sliding from the side, or appearing through a weird pattern. I really do like this minigame for what it tries to do, but it has one of those instant restart feelings. Yeah, you know the one where you miss an easy target so you instantly restart because you know you can do better? Yeah, like that. Honestly, I don't even mind this game, but it can be tough trying to land bullseyes or even trying to get a good hit on the target when playing with friends, because shurikens from other players can block your line of sight. Other than that, however, it's still a pretty good game for trying to master your ninja skills. I mean, you know what they say, don't bring a sword to a shuriken fight. Speaking of which, Samurai Kirby has you put up against opponents in which it's all about who will strike first at the right time. You can't strike too early or else you'll be faulted. However, you can't strike too late or else, well, the enemy will strike you instead and you'll lose. You'll face 5 opponents in a row on single player, and multiplayer will have everyone facing each other, waiting to see who will strike first and playing to 3 strikes. The 5 opponents in single player are Bandana Waddle Dee, Chef Kawasaki, King DDD, Magolor, and Meta Knight. The differences that the harder difficulties create is that the enemies will strike faster when the time comes. This one I think is pretty fun, but it requires a lot of focus. I straight up mean it needs to be dead silent focused, like no chill and happy music in the background. I'm trying to look and listen for when the time is right focused. However, I think playing with friends can be a bit trollish, which can be funny. While you're waiting for the mark, one of your friends could yelp as a prank, making you press the button on accident and making you fault because of your foolish mind. Also, I'll make a short mention of the Samurai Kirby 100 game mode, where you connect to 99 other players and you have to press the button on the mark and see how many people you can beat, which I think is pretty neat. The thing is, if they can make that game mode somewhat online multiplayer compatible for everyone, then why not the other games? It's weird, but I still find this minigame to be fun yet stressful with how focused you need to be. Crackity hack is all about hitting a rock. Sounds simple, right? Well, in reality, it's about 4 people seeing who can not only hit a rock the hardest, but seeing who will be strong enough to crack through the entire planet. There's 2 phases to this minigame. Phase 1 has you charging up your power. The meter will go up and down, and to get the strongest charge, you'll have to press A when the meter is full. Phase 2 is all about getting the perfect strike. A target on the rock will appear, and another target will lower onto the rock, and you'll have to press A at the very moment both targets match. The goal of the game is to get a stronger hit than everyone else, but I genuinely admire how far you can see the cracks go. If you even manage to get 999.99, you'll see a special cutscene where Waddle Dee swimming on the other side of the world will be blasted up by the water of whoever got the maximum hits. This game is pretty solid to say the least, and by the way, no, that wasn't a rock pun. I think it's just satisfying getting the highest hit in comparison to everyone else. My only gripe with this game is that trying to get that perfect target hit can sometimes be a bit of a pain, but I can always just chalk that up to skill issue. There's not much else I can talk about, it's just simple and satisfying to play. Smash Ride is probably one of the most chaotic games on this list. You and 3 other plebs ride on warp stars and have to knock each other off of the platform. Holding A charges your warp star and you have to slam right into everyone for points. There's also enemies that appear within the stage that you can knock off for a few extra points. This is a game that either you'll be a master at or you'll be squashed with ease. If you don't stop rushing into each other, then you're bound to be targeted by everyone else. However, there's also the chance of you blasting off to the side of the platform until you fall and then you have to respawn. Also, the enemies that sometimes spawn can be tricky to hit, and even a simple nudge or miss will have you put in danger. Something that's hard for me to do in this game, other than surviving obviously, is just hitting anyone. I feel like it'd be easier if there was some sort of a tracking beam that could tell you where you shoot or something. Also, good luck on higher difficulties. You will get swarmed, and you will take it to your grave, and you will get upset easily. However, for how hard this game feels to control, this is a genuinely fun head-to-head minigame. Trying to get the most amount of points knocking other plebs off as you try and survive from everyone else is just very exhilarating. Also, the whole space theme is genuinely awesome. I could just admire this level all day and night, but then again, I'd probably get knocked into a black hole if I sat and admired it for too long. Magolor's Tome Trackers has you and 3 other plebs as, what I assume to be, students at Magolor's school of whoever the pleb cares. He seems to have lost a good amount of books and instructs us to find them. A ton of books are scattered all over the place with different colors and different covers. Magolor will say a speech bubble with the book that you'll need to find. When you pick up the exact matching book, you'll get a point. If you end up picking the wrong book, you'll explode and faint for a few seconds before getting back up. Also, sometimes Magolor will do a bit of trolling and block the cover picture on a speech bubble. I find it fun sometimes to pull off a pro play and guess the correct book before he shows the answer, but that usually results in me blowing up. When there's 25 seconds left, Last Chance will initiate. This means that all books will appear as the same color, and every correct book will get you 2 points instead of 1. Not only that, but multiple of the book Magolor wants will appear, potentially giving you the chance to get a lot of points until the time is up. I think this is one of the more calmer games, but it also depends on reacting fast by getting the correct books. I haven't struggled this much on the game, and I think it's good for everyone to play. Also, it feels very satisfying when you end up getting at least 2 books in the Last Chance portion of the game. While it is more simple compared to the other games, this still has a good charming theme with just the right amount of competitivity when trying to run as fast as you can to the plebbing books and quickly pressing up to pick them up. Also, I don't know when exactly Magolor decided to open up a school, but I think it'd be fun to join. I hope he ends up giving me extra credit though for finding all of those plebbing books. I mean, how do you lose that many books? Kirby on the Draw is a rootin' tootin' who even uses that expression anymore in-game, where you and 3 other plebs have to shoot a bunch of enemy cutouts for points, and you'll have to try and get the most amount of points by shooting as many cutouts as possible. Remember, however, that you only have so many bullets to fire, so you'll need to remember to reload your chamber to stock up and shoot more targets. You can't get any points with an empty chamber after all. Also, some cutouts will give more points than others. Enemies who don't provide a copy ability will give 10 points. Enemies who do provide a copy ability will give 20 points. The green cutouts with mini-bosses on them give 40 points. Dark purple cutouts with bosses on them give a whopping 100 points, and the special Magolor cutout will give you 120 points. Also, be careful. Bombers will occasionally appear, and if you end up shooting them, you'll end up exploding, making you lose points and also get knocked out for a bit. What I love about this game is that it's all about fast thinking while also preserving your bullets. You need to make sure that you reload at the correct time while also being sure to aim precisely at the targets without missing. Plus, you need to make sure that you hit the targets first before your foes can steal them from you. Trust me, it's harder than it sounds. It's action-packed, and it's well worth playing all of the difficulties since the background theme changes with every difficulty change. Also, the cutouts usually spawn in different areas, so there's a good amount of randomness to it. It's like playing a game of quick draw with your guns, for a whole 3 minutes with 3 other plebs with cardboard cutouts. It sounds more fun in my head, I swear. Bomb Rally may seem relatively simple, but it can get very competitive and crazy really fast. You and 3 other players have to hit a bomb at each other with a frying pan. Once the bomb hits you, you're out of the game and it continues with whoever is left. You have to press the A button at the right moment to hit the bomb back. However, you can also hit the A button while the bomb is away from you to change the direction of where you can reflect the bomb, being either left or right. Another interesting thing is that you can make the speed of the bomb change depending on when you hit it. If the bomb's coming towards you and you hit it while it's a bit away from you, the bomb will travel slowly. However, if you hit the bomb while it's very close to you, you'll smash attack it, making it go incredibly fast. Not to mention that whenever a player gets out, some ball pleb appears to take their spot, and the game gets even faster until there's only one person left standing. While the game isn't that exciting at first, it gets insane if you play this with players who tend to react quicker and think smarter than the normal AI of this game. When you get down to a 1v1 with even a hard-tier computer player, you better hope they're not directly next to you. One smash hit could go too fast for you to react in time and it's game over. However, this is very fun for the mix of focusing on when you should hit the bomb and at what speed you should hit it at. I also admire how the characters aren't even using rackets, but they're using frying pans instead. Can we get a Kirby tennis game where they use frying pans? Let me point out that these last two were probably the hardest to choose between because of how good they are. I'm not joking when I say these are some peak minigames. Booming Blasters has you put up against 3 other players with different maps depending on difficulty. You have a ray gun and need to shoot your rivals 4 times to blast them out of the game. The interesting thing about these blasters is that they run on energy and you'll only have a limited amount of shots before you run out. The blasters can either shoot straight forward or you can hold down the A button to do an arcing charge attack instead. Ammo refills can appear around the map at random, so make sure you snag them before anyone else does. The blasters also have a level up system, and while they don't do more damage, they have a larger bullet that can pierce through smaller bullets. There's also a rare chance for a super blaster to appear, which can only be shot once but fires an enormous dart that can pierce through every enemy as well. The last thing I'll mention is that after a good amount of time, Kabula will start showing up and drop bombs everywhere to blow everyone up and try and make the game end sooner. The competitivity and survival aspect of this game is incredible. You have to play offensively so you can keep attacking your foes and upgrade your blaster. Not only that, but you have to try and nab all of the energy tanks as well so no one gets them, so you can be the only one who can attack. However, you also have to play defensively to make sure you aren't bombarded with normal blast or arcing blast. You need to maneuver to the safest energy refill whilst having to save as much health as possible, and you also have to make sure that no one nabs the super blaster the moment it spawns. This game makes you think from all aspects of gameplay, and it's genuinely a fun time all around. Stressful? Absolutely, but the competition is absolutely there. Checkerboard Chase is where we end everything off on. This game is more simple than the last, but I'll explain why this one is just a bit higher than Booming Blasters. You and 3 other plebs are on a large checkerboard and you have to make them fall off. The way you do this exactly is that you fire in front of you and it removes every tile that's directly in front of you. Everyone has 5 lives, and every time that you or someone else falls off with lives remaining, you'll spawn back on the board. If one person loses all of their lives, a portion of the board from the outside ends up getting removed, making it smaller and having less places to move. The winner is decided when there's only one person left standing. I know it's not as complex as some of the previous games, but what makes this game so fun is that it's fast-paced, easy to learn, and everyone can have a fun time playing it. It's even more fun in regards to strategy since you have to focus on mainly 2 things. You have to focus on where you're standing to make sure you don't fall in someone else's tile beam, but you also have to focus on where you're shooting to make sure you directly hit an enemy. Also, if you think the game is too simple, or even slow for that matter, this minigame is the only minigame that has a high speed mode, with the difference being, well, obviously, everyone moves faster, and also the tile beams your foes shoot go at blazing speed, giving you barely any time to move out of the way, making you have to think differently about how to play in regards to surviving. This game is genuinely my favorite minigame because, as I mentioned, it's easy to pick up, easy to learn, and easy to play, while it also manages to be rather competitive, especially while playing against other people. This game ended up with me playing it multiple times because of how glued to it I was. You don't need a super complex game to have fun. All you need is something that you like doing. For me, I guess, it's something that's fast-paced, fun, and sometimes fury-inducing. But hey, that's Kirby for you. Boom! There you have it, my personal list of the top 10 Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe minigames. Now, as I mentioned, at least I hope I have, just because that these are my personal list of minigames from least favorite to most favorite doesn't mean that I share the same opinions that you do. You may think that Egg Catcher is the best game, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone has an opinion to share, and I'd be down to hear what your personal favorites are within the comments below. By the way, I need to apologize since it's been over a month since I released the last YourLocalPleb video, and this video was actually meant to be released the moment Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe was exactly a month old. However, I do have some good news. I have multiple YourLocalPleb videos in progress, so I'm hoping that I can get them done soon so this channel doesn't feel like a graveyard. He's like, One thing I'm certain that will never change, however, is Kirby being one of my favorite game franchises of all time. From the bosses, to the stories, to the mini-games, to a bunch of other cool features that Kirby shows off to us, I'm always excited for the next Kirby-related thing to come out. And with that being said, when's that Kirby Air Ride remake?